On FaceTime with her mom, she said, "Don't worry, I'm just having fun. I'd never actually marry a mechanic." She forgot I was in the background. I quietly packed my tools and left. Her mom called the next day asking why I wasn't coming to Sunday dinner. Turns out she lost more than just me. I'm 34, a mechanic. I own a small shop in a mid-sized town, the kind of place where everyone knows who fixes whose car. It's honest work, dirty hands, long hours, but it pays the bills, and more importantly, it feels real. My girlfriend, Tessa, 31, works in marketing for a retail brand. She's smart, funny, ambitious, and yeah, she's always been a bit more polished than me. Her world was laptops and conference calls. Mine was sockets and grease stains. But somehow we made it work. Or at least, I thought we did. We'd been together almost 2 years. We'd met when her car broke down. Cliché, I know. And she said later that what attracted her to me was how grounded I was. She used to call me her reality check. We lived together for about a year. I'd moved into her apartment since it was closer to her office. It was neat, organized, and minimalist. She loved everything white and neutral. My stuff looked like clutter to her. So I kept most of it boxed in the storage room. She joked sometimes about me being the rugged contrast in her aesthetic. I thought it was affectionate teasing. Turns out, it wasn't a joke at all. The moment that ended everything started on an ordinary Sunday morning. I was cleaning my toolbox in the living room. She was on FaceTime with her mom, Margaret, sitting across the room, half-dressed, coffee in hand. Her mom and I got along well. We'd had dinners together, laughed, helped her with a leaky faucet once. I was practically family. At least, I thought I was. The call was casual at first, small talk, vacation plans, something about her mom's new garden project. Then her mom said, "So, when are we finally meeting his parents? You've been together long enough, honey." Tessa laughed. "Oh, Mom, come on. Don't worry, I'm just having fun. I'd never actually marry a mechanic." And she said it so easily, like she was saying she'd never buy a cheap handbag. Not cruelly, not dramatically, just offhand, thoughtless, comfortable in her condescension. Her mom didn't even reply at first, just went quiet. And then she said, softly, "Tessa, he's right behind you." Tessa froze. Her face drained of color. She turned slowly, and there I was, crouched by the toolbox, a wrench in my hand, staring straight at her. For a moment, no one spoke. Not her. Not her mom, who was still on the screen. Not me. Just the sound of a socket falling from the table and hitting the floor. I didn't say a word. Didn't yell. Didn't ask why. I just stood up, wiped my hands on a rag, and walked to the bedroom. Grabbed my bag, a few clothes, the keys to my truck. She followed me, stammering. "Wait. Please, that came out wrong." "It didn't," I said. She tried to grab my arm. "You know I didn't mean it like that. It's just something people say." "People?" I asked quietly. "Or you?" Her eyes welled up. "You're twisting it." "No," I said. "I'm just hearing it." And then I left. Her mom was still on the call. As I walked past, I heard her whisper, "Tessa, what have you done?" I didn't look back. That night, I drove to my shop. Slept in the office. Didn't check my phone. Didn't talk to anyone. I just sat there, surrounded by the hum of silence and the faint smell of oil and metal. And for the first time in a long time, I realized I had built something solid, my work, my life. And she'd seen it as temporary entertainment, like a phase. The next morning, my phone buzzed with messages. I didn't mean it. "You're overreacting. Can we talk, please?" Mom's mad at me now. I ignored them. But then, at around 10 a.m., I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I answered. "Ethan." "Yes." "It's Margaret." There was a long pause before she said, softly, "Can you tell me why you're not coming to Sunday dinner anymore?" And that was when it hit me. Her mom hadn't known either. She'd believed in me. She'd liked me. And now she was caught in the fallout of her daughter's arrogance. I took a breath. "Ask your daughter," I said gently. "I did," she said. And she cried. "But I don't think she's crying for you. I think she's crying because she finally realized who she's not." There was silence on the line. Then she sighed. "For what it's worth, Ethan, I would have been proud to have you as a son-in-law." I didn't know what to say, so I said the only honest thing I could. "Thank you, Margaret." And I hung up. 3 days passed before Tessa showed up at my shop. I'd been staying there since I left, not because I didn't have anywhere else to go, but because it felt like mine. For walls I'd built myself, tools that didn't lie, machines that worked the way they were supposed to. She pulled up in her spotless SUV, white, shining, the opposite of everything around me. For a few seconds, she just stood by the entrance, arms crossed, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to come in. I didn't help her. I stayed where I was, tightening a bolt on a transmission that didn't need tightening. Finally, she said, "Ethan, can we talk?" "We are." She hesitated, then came closer. The smell of perfume hit me. Too clean for a place like this. "I know you're angry." "No," I interrupted. "I'm not angry." She blinked. "You're not. Anger means I still care what you think." For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she tried to regroup. "Look, what I said, it came out wrong. I was just joking with my mom. You know how she is." "Actually," I said quietly, "I know exactly how she is." She called me the next day. Her face twitched. She what? Asked why I wasn't coming to dinner anymore. Said she'd be proud to have me as a son-in-law. That stopped her. For a second, all the defensiveness drained away, replaced by something that looked a lot like shame. Then she whispered, "She said that." "Yeah," I said. "Funny, right? The woman you were trying to impress saw more worth in me than you did." She sat down on a nearby stool. For the first time, she looked small. I don't know why I said it. I just, I panicked, okay? My mom was asking about marriage, and I felt trapped. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. "You meant it exactly the way it sounded," I said. She looked up, eyes wet. "Do you really think I don't care about you? I think you care about how I make you look." That landed hard. She looked down at her hands, fiddling with her nails, perfect, polished, clean. "I've always been proud of you," she said softly. "No," I said. "You've always been proud of what I did for you." "That's not the same thing." She wiped her eyes, mascara smearing slightly. "I told my mom I wanted to fix things." "You can't fix what you don't respect." Her lip trembled. "You're being cruel." "No," I said, still calm. "I'm being honest. You call me a mechanic like it was a punchline. But this," I gestured around the shop, "the oil, the smell of steel and burnt rubber. This is my life. It's not beneath you. It's beneath the version of you that you pretend to be." She didn't respond. We sat in silence for a while, the sound of the clock ticking, the faint hum of the fridge in the corner. Then she whispered, "Is this really it?" I looked at her. "It was at the second you said I wasn't worth marrying." She stood, shaking. "You'll regret walking away from someone who loved you." "No," I said quietly. "I'll regret trusting someone who didn't." She froze for a moment, then turned and walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't say another word. Just left. That night, her mom texted me again. "I don't know what happened between you two, but I'm sorry for how she treated you." For what it's worth, I told her she'll spend a long time learning what real love looks like. I replied, "She will. Just not for me." And that was that. Over the next few months, things were quiet. Tessa moved out of the apartment we'd shared. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that she'd tried dating someone from work, another professional. Didn't last long. Meanwhile, my shop got busier. Word spread after a few good reviews, and suddenly, I had more clients than I could handle. Hired an apprentice, kid named Luke, 20, quick learner. He called me sir for the first 2 weeks until I told him to stop. Life started feeling steady again. One Sunday morning, about 6 months after everything, I was closing up when a car pulled into the lot. "Margaret." She got out slowly, smiling. "You working on Sundays again?" "Always." She nodded. "You look happier." "I am." She handed me a small brown envelope. "Tessa wrote you something." I didn't read it. I told her she should say her piece and then let it go. "Up to you if you want." I took it, turned it over in my hands. "I appreciate that." She smiled sadly. "You were good for her, you know. Maybe too good." "Maybe," I said. "But good doesn't mean right." After she left, I opened the letter. Inside, "You didn't deserve what I said. You deserved someone proud to stand next to you, not someone who used you as a mirror. I'm sorry. I hope your hands never stop building things. They make the world better. Tessa." No drama. No plea. Just words. I folded it carefully, slid it into a drawer, not to keep, but to end. Now, every Sunday, when I finish early, I drive to a small diner by the highway. They serve terrible coffee and perfect pie. And when people ask what I do, I just smile and say, "Fix things." Because I do. Just not people anymore. Update 1. It's been almost a year since that morning in the shop. Since she walked out and left me standing among the smell of metal and regret. I haven't heard from Tessa since. No texts. No "how are you?" Nothing. And that's fine, because silence, when it's earned, feels like peace. Business has been good. Better than ever, actually. The shop expanded, 2 new bays, a couple of part-time mechanics, and a small waiting area that doesn't smell like exhaust anymore. Sometimes I catch myself thinking how proud my dad would have been. He was a mechanic, too. Used to say, a man who fixes things right the first time doesn't need to prove anything else. I think about that a lot lately. Then, one Thursday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me pick up. Ethan. Yeah, it's Margaret. Her voice, warm, but tired. Hey, Margaret. Everything all right? There was a pause. Can you come by the house? It's about Tessa. My stomach dropped for half a second, not out of longing, just the reflex of old memory. Is she okay? She's fine. Physically, at least. Just, I think she needs to see what accountability looks like. That Saturday, I drove over. Same house I'd visited countless Sundays before. The garden I helped her mom plant. The same wind chimes by the porch. Except this time, I parked out front instead of pulling into the driveway. Margaret met me at the door with that gentle, apologetic smile mothers have when they know their child has made a mess they can't clean up for them. You didn't have to come, she said. I know, I said. That's why I did. She nodded, understanding instantly. Inside, the air smelled like coffee and lemon cleaner. Tessa was sitting on the couch, quiet, older somehow. Her hair shorter, face bare, a half-finished mug of tea in her hands. She looked up when I walked in. No theatrics this time. Just a tired, honest kind of surprise. Hey, she said softly. Hey. Margaret excused herself, leaving us alone. For a moment, we just sat there. No tension, no blame, just silence that didn't hurt anymore. Finally, she said, Mom said you'd probably come. I told her you wouldn't. Why'd she want me here? She looked down. Because she thinks I need to say thank you. For the letter. For not humiliating me. For just walking away. You don't need to thank me, I said. I didn't do it for you. I know, she said quietly. That's what made it hurt. She took a shaky breath. I've been in therapy. Still am. Turns out, when you define your worth by how others see you, you'll burn every bridge to keep your reflection clean. Sounds like progress, I said. It is, she nodded. I just wish it hadn't taken losing someone decent to get there. For the first time, I believed her. Not because she was crying. She wasn't. But because her voice was steady. She wasn't performing anymore. She was finally just real. So, she said, forcing a small smile. Still fixing cars. Still fixing cars, I said. You always did like simple problems. That's because people are complicated ones, I said. She laughed softly. And for a second, it felt almost normal. Like two people remembering a time before everything cracked. Then I stood. Take care of yourself, Tessa. You too, Ethan. She didn't try to hug me. Didn't reach for some last word. Just let me go. Really let me go this time. On my way out, Margaret walked me to the porch. She's different now, she said quietly. So are you, I replied. She smiled sadly. I think she finally understands what love looks like. Good, I said. I just hope she gives it to herself first. When I got back to the shop that afternoon, I found a small brown paper bag on the counter. Inside, a note from Margaret and a jar of homemade jam. For all the Sundays you fixed things that weren't yours to fix. M. I set the jar on my shelf, next to an old wrench my father gave me. Didn't open it. Didn't need to. It was enough just to have it there. A quiet reminder that sometimes closure doesn't come from words, but from the life you build after them. That night, I locked up early. Stepped outside, the air heavy with rain, the sky dim and peaceful. For the first time, I realized the sound of the city in the distance, the faint hum of tires on wet asphalt. It all felt right. Because peace isn't about who apologizes. It's about who finally stops needing to be right. Final update. It's been almost 3 years since the day I heard the words that ended it all. I'd never actually marry a mechanic. Funny how one sentence can split your life into before and after. But time has a way of sanding the edges off even the sharpest moments. Now, it's just a story, and I'm okay with that. The shop's grown. I have 3 employees now, including Luke, who's practically running the place when I'm not there. He's 23, engaged, saving for a house. He reminds me of myself before everything went sideways. Except he has the kind of girl who brings him lunch and sits with him during breaks. Not someone who tells him he's too real for her brand. Sometimes I catch myself smiling when I see them together. Not jealous, just glad someone else is doing it right. I moved into a small house on the edge of town. It's quiet, big garage, little yard, dog named Rusty who thinks every visitor is a delivery guy bringing snacks. He's terrible at guarding the place, but good at reminding me that joy doesn't need a reason. A few months back, I started seeing someone, Claire. She teaches automotive tech at the local college. Smart, grounded, sarcastic in the best way. She smells like coffee and motor oil, and she calls me old man because I still keep paper receipts. We met when her class toured my shop, and I offered a demo on basic diagnostics. She stayed after. We talked about everything from carburetors to family, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to simplify who I was. No performances, no careful wording, just comfort. Last week, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting instantly. Tessa. Inside. Hi, Ethan. I don't expect a reply. Just wanted you to know I've been accepted into a counseling program. I want to help people figure out their worth before they hurt someone trying to find it. I think of you sometimes, not with guilt, but with gratitude. You taught me that real kindness doesn't need applause. Take care. T. I read it once, folded it neatly, placed it in a drawer next to the note from her mom, and that jar of jam I still haven't opened. I didn't feel sadness or nostalgia, just a quiet kind of respect for how far we'd both come in completely different directions. That night, Claire came by with takeout. We sat on the porch, Rusty asleep between us, the air warm and heavy with the smell of rain. She leaned against me and asked, "You okay? You've been quiet." "Just thinking," I said. "About what?" "About how sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is walk away early enough for them to grow." She smiled. "You're too philosophical for a guy with grease on his boots." "That's what keeps the gears turning," I said. We didn't talk much after that. Didn't need to. The silence between us wasn't awkward anymore. It was full, like a pause between breaths that meant everything's all right. And in that moment, I realized, peace doesn't come from closure or from proving anyone wrong. It comes the day you stop needing your pain to make sense. If anyone's still reading after all this time, here's what I've learned. You can forgive without reopening the door. You can move on without wishing anyone harm. And you can rebuild your life from the same tools someone once used to underestimate you. Because the truth is, I didn't stop being just a mechanic. I just stopped letting anyone make that sound like less.